Hello, welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. 2 American produced blended whiskeys, Seagram 7 Crown. And some people ask me, is that a different one, the 7 Crown, different from Seagram 7? No, because 7 Crown is the actual name of it. It's just, most people call it Seagram 7, but it says right there, 7. Well, there's a lot of glare, but 7 Crown. And they show 7 crowns. Now, American blended whiskey, 7 Crown. It says distiller since 1857. That is true, but this brand came out about 1934. So over 80 years ago. They're both 80 proof. This is blended at a 75 to 25% ratio. 75% grain neutral spirits, 25% straight American whiskey. This is the formula for the old 5 Crown. There used to be a Seagram's 5 Crown, which was sort of like their budget brand. And then 5 Crown disappeared, and then Seagram 7, no, let me restate that. Actually, 7 Crown disappeared, and 5 Crown became 7 Crown. So see, that was a little sleight of hand. Substitute the premium whiskey with the below premium value priced formula. Okay, so that's how that worked out. All right, this is sold pretty much everywhere. Liquor is sold. You see it in every bar, used for mixed drinks. Nice looking bottle. It's got the embossed 7 Crown on the back. It's got the notch for putting it on a rack. It's a brown bottle. Many of them are clear, but this is brown. And it's blended and bottled in Norwalk, Connecticut. Or that could just be the corporate headquarters, but it says blended and bottled by the 7 Crown Distilling Company of Norwalk, Connecticut. We know the distillery is in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and if you look at the old 1935, 36 advertisements, and from magazines, I might have some in that drawer because I have some old magazines. It says very clearly Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Another big distilling location back in those days was Peoria, Illinois. A lot of whiskeys came from Peoria, Illinois. So everything is not from Kentucky or Tennessee. Okay, versus Heaven Hill. You see, clear bottle. Heaven Hill, Kentucky whiskey. Now, this is like an old wooden sign, right? Like an old, whatever those were called, wooden signs that you might see it at a store somewhere out in front of the store. Mounted on the wall, it says mild and mellow Kentucky whiskey blended. Now blended is not so prominent. Kentucky blended whiskey. HH got the Heaven Hill crest with the lion, the 2 lions, excuse me. And they've got distilleries. Okay, Heaven Hill Distilleries trademark. Okay, gotcha. 80 proof. And on the back here gives you a little, it says Heaven Hill's #1 Kentucky blended whiskey. Okay, so they put #1 on there, maybe it making you think it's the #1 blended whiskey. It's really, that would be Seagram 7. But what they're saying is Heaven Hill's #1 blended whiskey. It's their own #1. I want to see real fast. Every drop of the Kentucky whiskeys used in this special blend, every drop was distilled by the traditional sour mash Kentucky craftsmanship to assure consistent quality and taste. So they're using sour mash whiskey here, and they don't say that on the other one. Blended and bottled by Heaven Hill Distilleries, Bardstown, Nelson County, Kentucky. So that's where their big distillery is, in Bardstown. I didn't go there. I did go to the Barton Distillery. Okay, so Heaven Hill's #1 Kentucky blended whiskey. I got that on the bottleneck, #1, but the #1's prominent, so maybe they're trying to make you think this is the #1, whatever. Well, it might be #1 in Louisiana for overall sales, honestly, because, and there's a code down here, and it's saying like, oh boy, 191st day of 2016, I believe, at 5:27 a.m. when it was bottled. Okay, so notice it says blended and bottled by Heaven Hill. It doesn't say distilled. Oh, it might be coming from Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and I'll tell you why I think that. I was at Bardstown at Barton, and the lady was saying, I'll say the girl, because you know she's under 40. I gotta have it. Anybody, to me, a woman under 40 is like a girl, you know. And I guess a man under 40 is like a guy. I don't know. I don't worry about all that. Okay, so she was saying, here's our old column still that we used to use for gin, blah, blah, blah. And I know that Bardstown, Sazerac, Barton Distillery makes an enormous amount of gin, like Crystal Palace gin. And I said, well, your gin is coming in from Lawrenceburg, Indiana, isn't it? She said, oh, yeah. She said, we just bring it in from there. It was cheaper just to ship it in from the Seagrams, or now it's called MGP Distillery, Midwest Grain Products. So a lot of their base stuff comes from there. And she said, we just bring it here and then we age it and blend it, or blend it, then age it and sell it and bottle it. And she said, oh, and then she said, like, oh, Crystal Palace, that's a big one. We bottle a lot of that here, and I think I saw somewhere where they had bottles of it. It's just a lot of it, you know. So I'm assuming that Heaven Hill's doing the same thing. They're just contracting out to MGP and getting their base whiskey from there, and they're blending it for this. Well, they're saying Kentucky whiskey now. Okay. So maybe it's coming from another one of their plants, Kentucky. But Bardstown, they're saying, yeah, it's coming from, but they don't make the claim that it's Kentucky whiskey. It doesn't really matter. They're using sour mash. Okay, so, okay, all right. Seagram's makes no such claim. Is it going to make a difference? I doubt that. John says, good morning, Ron. Good morning, John and Neely. Dennis Day, morning, brother. I've had some Seagram's extra dry gin in the past and have enjoyed it thoroughly. It goes great with some olives to snack on. No joke. And that extra dry and the Seagram's Reserve, Distiller's Reserve, definitely come from Lawrenceburg. There's no question about that. They'll tell you that right there on the website, on the bottle. They even give you the distiller master's name. It's got his signature. And, you know, there's a little story about, oh, he makes sure he only gets the finest botanicals and the best grain neutral spirits and makes this wonderful Distiller's Reserve gin, which really is wonderful, especially when you get it $15 a bottle. Best gin I ever had. Although I got to say that Pinnacle wasn't bad, but it's no Distiller's Reserve. Alberto Placencia says, "Good. Hey, good morning, Ron. How are you today? I'm fine. How did you watch the game yesterday?" I was watching it, the World Series, Game 7. But didn't it look like, you know, Houston was just going to run away with it? I said, they're going to dominate. They just seem to be dominating it. I said, they're going to win, you know. I'll be shocked if I wake up and LA came back and won it. So I didn't stay up to watch too much of it. You know, I went to sleep. And I had a dream last night, or it was the night before last. Yeah, it was Tuesday night. I had a dream that I bought a gift pack of the Canadian Club. You know, it comes with that nice glass. It comes in a box, and it's Canadian Club whiskey with a glass. And I was thinking to myself in the dream, this is good. I'm glad I did it, because this would be something nice to have. It's silly, huh? But I didn't. buy it. Okay, so let's do this. Both of these are from the 1930s, apparently. And interestingly, there's no website information for either one of these. There's a slight reference to this Seagram 7 Crown on the Diageo website. And you can find out about Heaven Hill, they call it Heaven Hill Original Kentucky Blended Whiskey, on their website, but it's just a product description. There's nothing on their brand section, just a product description with what kind of bottles it comes in. Okay, so both very popular in Louisiana. I can't speak for other states, but if you go anywhere in Louisiana, you're going to see every type of bottle size for both of these, from the big plastic handle bottle down to the little tiny one. It's just everywhere. On the other hand, though, you're gonna save a lot of money buying the Heaven Hill. The Heaven Hill will be $6.99 to $7.99 a bottle. The Seagram's going to be $11.99 to $12.99 per bottle. Okay, so you're gonna be getting it close to half the price for the Heaven Hill, or let's say 40% cheaper. So let's see. H Hill S7C, Seagram 7 Crown. Let's go, let's go. We did an examination last night of 7 Crown, and people were favorable. Not, in love with it, not in adoration of it. But, they liked it. It's okay. It is what it's supposed to be. In other words, when you do beer reviews, you should review them per style, right? So it's this thing here is spilling. This little glug. It's not coming out like I was. Let me go get a towel. Spilled a few drops. I don't want that whiskey going anywhere. I'm gonna read the comments. Hold on. You say, oh, that's because the light was off. No, it was going to do that with light or without light. I can see dawn is bursting. Not exactly bursting, maybe seeping in. Should have been more careful with that pour. Like Stevie Nicks said, I was such a fool. Okay. Dennis Day, I have no clue why. Okay. We're going to get to, yeah, both standard amber gold amber, standard, same color. I mean, can't tell them apart. Dennis Day, I have no clue why Los Angeles would start Darvish. He's got a little history of getting lit up by the Astros, even when he was with the Rangers. All right. Then they had that terrible however you say that, throw to first base, or they threw the ball wrong. The guy threw the ball wrong to first base, and it goes flying into the dugout. Right then you say, uh-oh. The Mighty Neck. I'm a big fan of the Mighty Neck. Says, cheers, Beer Master. Oh, well, who's the Beer Master? I'm no beer master. I'm a person who tastes beer and tells you what he thinks about it, if you want to call that a master, but nah. I'm not a brewer, not even a home brewer. I'm no expert. Anybody could do this, right? Anybody could make videos and talk about beer. I'm not saying everybody would do a good job, but they can do it. All right, enough blending, enough mingling. I don't know which is which. Okay, what's my expectation? I think that generally it's going to be about the same. They're not going to be particularly different. Although I think that probably the Seagram 7 will have a slight bit more flavor and character. Hey, and if I'm paying $12 as opposed to $8 or $7, if I'm paying $4 to $5 more a bottle, it better have a lot. It should have a good deal more flavor and character, not like a slight amount. Will the sour mash aspect make a difference? It might. John and Neely says, I can't believe the Heaven Hill is so cheap. Well, believe it, it is. I mean, they have it just like really low. Maybe that's why they sell it like mad. You know, people come in. I go to Racetrack gas station, right? Which is a huge a chain. You might have Raceway in your area. Raceway is Raceway is owned by a private individual, so franchise. Racetrack is owned by the corporate. Okay. I know there's a racetrack in Georgia on I-55, you know, in that northwest corner of Georgia. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a Pilot. Never mind. We have Pilot too. That's Pilot. I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe they don't have a racetrack in Georgia. But yeah, any of these gas stations in Louisiana sell enormous amounts of liquor, gin, whiskey, bourbon, rum, everything. You know, it's like, that's why we don't really have liquor stores. People say, what liquor store do you go to in Louisiana? We don't really have liquor stores. There's no reason to have a liquor store when you can buy hard liquor at the grocery store and the gas station. Why would you make a special trip to a liquor store? I mean, we have them, but we don't have too many. In Baton Rouge, there's Cuban Liquors, big old place. In Chalmette, Louisiana, down southeastern New Orleans, there's, what was it? Discount store, super discount store. It's called Super Discount Store, which is a liquor store, okay? But typically they don't have them. All right. Yeah, Heaven Hill is like widespread here. Now, when I was in Kentucky, I do believe I saw more of the Heaven Hill bourbons, the green label, the black label, the bonded. There's a whole line of Heaven Hill bourbons, which interestingly are not on their website. Like a whole line, all kinds, you know. And when I was in Frankfort, Kentucky, I went to this, and they have liquor stores there because they don't allow liquor sales in gas stations and grocery stores. And I went to this place on US Highway 60 westbound at the corner of Interstate, well, kind of like an interstate, but US Highway 127, and then 60 where they come together. There's a place called Smoker Friendly. And you go in there, they're all smoking cigarettes. You know, they sell a lot of tobacco, but they had an enormous amount of liquor. I mean, enormous, like you can't believe it. And I saw this blended whiskey, Barton blended whiskey, $5.99 a bottle, $5.99. I told her, I'll take it. I've never opened it. It's from Bardstown, but I said, I wonder how that's going to be, you know. Okay. And then there's all the Barton bourbons, the 4-year age, the 6-year age, the 8-year age, and then all the other ones that they don't talk about on the website. I mean, you know, it's like, and in Kentucky, Barton is big time. And in Louisiana, Barton doesn't exist. Okay, not that brand. Mighty Neck. Not everybody can do those beer evaluations because you need a little bit of knowledge and a lot of tasting too. If not, you would be a liar. Yeah, that's true. But then they would, the only way they would get the experience is to do the experience, right? You know what I mean? Like, start doing it. Then over time, then you'll be experienced. That's how I did it. In February '96, my experience with beer was practically nothing. Aside from drinking beer as a child, you know, a 2 or 3-year-old. Because my parents would have a crawfish boil or barbecue, and then they would be drinking Miller High Life ponies, usually, you know, those 7-ounce squat bottles, or Schlitz, typically, or Dixie. That was really the three I remember. Dixie, Schlitz, and Miller High Life. And I would always, I'd be saying, let me have some, and then they would let me drink it out of the bottle. And, you'd just be doing that sipping on that the whole barbecue. So maybe even as a little toddler, I might have drank a whole 7 ounce. And it tasted so good, oh man, it tastes so good. And then in 1986, and then that kind of died away, because then, if you're an older kid, you're not going to be asking your parents, let me sip it. You're like 9 years old, you're going to want to drink Coke. Little kids, they always want to drink sweet stuff. Then I had a weak stomach, so I would drink all that Coke and eat all that rich food and then go vomit, But once I turned 19, I never had a weak stomach anymore. I don't know what that was about. But I used to get sick easy, but now I know that doesn't happen now. But so in 1986, my daddy had this whole refrigerator full of Miller Lite. And I told my friends, let's drink beer, like we're cool, we're being cool. But at 18, you could drink. You still can drink at 18 in Louisiana. You can still drink. You can't buy it. We had some little loophole laws. But anyway, I remember pouring it. No, I was drinking straight out the can. I can remember this on that back porch. And I was thinking, oh, what's wrong with this stuff? I thought I liked beer. This is bad. It had like this hollow taste. It was like hollow. It was like, I couldn't even finish the can. I poured it. I dumped it out. I didn't finish it. So from 1986, that was around May. Yeah, May, June. Probably June. Yeah, let's say June 86 until February 96. So almost 10 years, I never drank beer ever. Not a single one. So I lost 10 years of my drinking experiences due to that bad experience with Miller Lite. Think about that. And then I said, let me give it a second chance, So I did Miller High Life. That's the memory I had as a 2 or 3 year old, or 4-year-old. That's the memory. Okay. So then I started realizing that the light beers had everything you always wanted in a beer and less, like less taste, less character. So then I started to build upon that. So that's the foundation upon which I built this 21-year experience. So I was so angry that I had lost that 10 years, because I could have been collecting all the cans at like those Schlitz red labels that they had from 1982 to 82 to 96, because I always saved a can. I have a 1980 Welch's apple soda can, which that has been gone, I believe. So, but anyway, all right, on with the show. People say, I don't want to hear all that. What is this, a vlog? Right. No, I don't do vlogs. Okay. Yeah, it smells like rubbing alcohol. Not really, but it smells like grain alcohol. You can smell the grain. You can really smell the grain here. It's like, it's almost like grits. Yesterday morning, I heated up some grits. Now, those had the cheese in it. The Quaker cheese flavored grits from Quaker, obviously. But then I put some hog's head cheese in it after I got it really hot. But if you just get the regular grits, the unflavored, those are white hominy. They're probably using yellow corn here, but it's got that. You'll pick that up with Bush beer a lot if you really double down on the aroma. Okay. There's a little sourdough, though, going on there. Hey, wait, sour mash whiskey? Okay, all right, starting to make sense. All right, when I was younger, Red Dog was huge. Oh, yeah, like 94, 95. I remember that. And it was premium price, too. It was like at the above premiums, like the Michelob level. And then it went to the premium, and now it's budget. Coors Banquet was one of the first beers I remember enjoying. Yeah, we couldn't get it in Louisiana until 1981. And it was never really popular here. Coors Light took off, but Coors, no. Coors Banquet has a following today because of the cheap price. Certainly has a following. Okay, here. Not so strong alcohol here. That one had a sharp nose burn. Not unpleasant, sort of like mint. Like if you had a cold and you were sniffing on that Vicks inhaler, that Vicks inhaler, or you get that Vicks salve, that the greasy stuff, the petroleum jelly with the Vicks, and you rub it all in your nose. It kind of had that feeling, but this one, very mild on the alcohol burn, if any. It's there, but it's very mild. Okay, so corn, yes, and some almost like a wet, how do you describe it? A wet glob, like if you're making cornbread and you got the wet corn meal. Yeah, it's like wet cornmeal batter, like the water in the cornmeal, and it's wet and it's starting to have some aroma. Oops, got it in my nose a little bit, which is not necessarily a bad thing for the tasting. Mighty Next says, I'll tell you a secret, Ronald. Most Norwegians, like me, we just drink to get a happy time. Yeah, I've heard about Scandinavia's reputation for alcohol consumption. Yeah, I know about that. No, they don't think on it. They mostly just glug it. Yeah, that's an old Viking heritage of going berserk. Like, you know, berserk. In America, we're more refined, except for our extreme favorability towards violence. America tends to be a violent country. We like guns. We have that handgun fixation. And you say, oh no, one of those liberals, he wants to get rid of guns. I see where this is going. I didn't say I wanted to get rid of guns. I just said people have a fixation. I know people that have like a virtual arsenal in their home. They're fixated. That's basically their hobby, collecting guns, more guns and ammo, and they're basically waiting for the Gotterdammerung. Oh well. Okay, so the aroma is unusual. It's not the same like I thought. Oh no, 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 not the same. Very distinct. This one here has a much more dankness, like, you know, like a dankness, like with the IPAs, this dank, fermented sour thing. Like, okay, it's like sour mash whiskey. It's definitely got a lot of that. So you say, well, they're just neutral. No, this ain't neutral. I'm already thinking this was Heaven Hill. It's got too much Kentucky character to it. You know, it's like, and if you drive in these distillery towns like Bardstown, you can smell it. You know what I mean? Like the whole town smells like whiskey cooking. You know what I mean? It smells like a bakery of yeast and bread and corn. They probably can't even smell it because they're so used to it, but it just hits you like, wow, this whole town smells like baking, fermenting, bread products, whiskey, yeast, alcohol products. And it was so strong in Lynchburg, and it was really strong in Bardstown. That was like, and you'll find that if you drive on Interstate 10, right at 10 and 610 in Houston, with your windows down, and you go by the Budweiser Brewery, Anheuser-Busch Brewery, the whole area just smells like cooking beer, bread products, cooking. It's like you literally smell that all day long. You just smell bread. Like New Orleans East. If you go to New Orleans, right when you get to the Industrial Canal, heading into the eastern section of New Orleans East, it all smells like coffee, fresh roasting coffee. Well, why is that? Because it's the largest coffee mill in the world, Folgers. It's huge. And I mean huge. And you could smell it. It's just coffee all day long. And then if you go to the far east of New Orleans on the old Gentilly Highway, the old Highway 90, then there's the other Folgers plant, which is huge. where they roast the gourmet coffee. They say, well, that's where they do their gourmet work, all the specialty coffees, and then it's even a richer aroma there. Do they give tours? Not to my knowledge, but they might. I know we toured NASA on that old Highway 90 once, where they build the solid rocket boosters. You know, the things that blow up and make the space shuttles crash? Those things. Okay. This does not taste like the Seagrams that we were drinking last night. It's got kind of a weird little malt liquor beer twang, you know, that kind of twang that makes people not like malt liquor because it's like a little too much like liquor, you know. It's like, you're like, wow. Now, when you're drinking this, you're not saying, wow, this is Four Roses special edition that I paid $125 for. No, you would never think that. You would think it's more like a $6.99 bottle. But still, there is some dried flour and some flowers, not flour, some it's almost like a metallic, like if you were sucking on the foil spine of a little golden book. Like I remember as a baby, because you know, as a baby, you're always putting everything in your mouth, and you know, the little golden books, like it's got that foil spine, it's golden, and as a baby, you'd be chewing on it there. Because I can remember, yeah, I can remember being a baby and chewing on it, and you get that metallic taste in your mouth. Oh, I used to love sucking on a little golden book. Okay, well, you know, I was a baby. What do you expect? All right. But that made me think of that flavor, that odd metallic. Okay, so this one here has, yeah, more of a standard, like standard corporate whiskey taste. You know what I mean? Like just standard. Like no odd exotic flavors. Doesn't taste like you're sucking on the spine of a little golden book. You know what I mean? It's just like straight blended whiskey, like the prototype blended whiskey, like the benchmark blended whiskey. You would use this to compare all other blended whiskeys against. Like this is the standard flavor. It's not remarkable or anything, but it's like, okay, this is your baseline. And I think that pinpoint perfection that they do with it, as far as their quality control, well, blah, 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 from Diageo, formerly Seagram's, that's why it's in every bar in America, because it's just like always going to be exactly the same every time with no variation of any sort. Okay? Now you might say, well, that's just dull. I understand that, but that's what they're shooting for, a baseline standard, no deviation whatsoever from the center point, which can be used for all the mixed drinks. It's not going to throw anything a little bit. You know, it's not going to throw stuff either way, left or right, up or down. But this one, though, is a little wanky. You know, it's a little peculiar. This one could throw things like, you say, but now your argument might be, yeah, but there's a lot of dedicated alcoholics who don't care about the standard and the quality control. They just want to get drunk and they want the cheapest possible whiskey. They want that 80 proof. And if they can get it for $6.99 a bottle, that's their goal. That's their game plan. Yeah, and I think this would work for that. They're not going to ruminate on it. Nope. They're not going to drink it straight. They're going to mix it with Czech cola, you know, some store brand Surefine cola. which is ghastly, really, when you think about it. Really poor quality stuff. And they're going to guzzle it down and go sleep somewhere, probably outside or back home. And just, it'll be a, you know, you say, well, you're bringing up the dark side of humanity, the dark aspects of life. Yeah, but I think that these kind of products here, they work for that kind of wretched situation. Now, on the other hand, am I saying everybody that drinks Heaven Hill Kentucky blended whiskey is that? No, no. I'm sure there's people that have nice houses and they're not too particular and they just want cheap whiskey and they buy it. Because you go to Dormax, which is certainly not in a bad part of Metairie, Louisiana. It's a very well-heeled part. And I mean, you know, they sell this stuff like crazy over there. Not to mention about 20 other blended whiskeys. But you know what I'm saying? So John and Neil, they said, sound like these two are very different. Oh, definitely. They shouldn't be considering the price difference. Heaven Hill is not too popular in my area. Oh, but it's popular here, boy. Let me tell you, you're in that western Georgia, close to right across from Alabama. I do like that classic label design, though. I like it too. It's sharp. It is a sharp, and it's filigree. Like it's textured. You can feel it. It's not just standard paper with some print on it. Okay, I'm going to call it because I think these are too differentiated. Y'all might have noticed I didn't mention char in any way. No charcoal. It might be there at the very bottom of the taste, but it's so minimal that it's almost not worth talking about. You want char, go drink bourbon. That's what your bourbon drinkers want, that charcoal, you know, that woodiness, which is honestly a flavor that does not appeal to everyone. Some people, I know people that would rather drink a blended whiskey. They don't like those sharp flavors. Everybody does not like sharp cheddar cheese. I like the extra sharp cheddar. I know some people, they would gag if they tasted extra sharp cheddar. Be totally repelled by it. And they're not going to drink, they're not going to eat Limburger cheese. So, you know, everything does not appeal to everybody. Okay. But you get some people making comments here sometimes. Nobody likes blended whiskey. They'll make a universal statement like that. Nobody likes it. Oh, it's weird because, you know, they sell tens of millions of barrels of it a year, but nobody likes it. It's strange. Strange how nobody likes it. Like nobody likes Budweiser. And I like that article, that clickbait article. It said, you know, you get these things on the internet. No one likes Budweiser anymore. And we know that Anheuser-Busch struggles with sales for some of the older brands. We understand that. They were saying, well, they only sell 14 million cases of it. But in 1988, they sold 50 million cases. Well, if you say they sold 14 million cases last year, how can you say no one likes it? Okay, I mean, the whole article doesn't even make any sense. And the title is ridiculous. It's just to get you to click on there. So foolish to make a statement like that. Now that's a big drop, 50 million to 14 million. Or it might be 15 million. But you got to remember now, most of that drop was not abandonment of the company. It was abandonment of Budweiser in favor of Bud Light. So they're up to around 50 million now. So they used to be at the 14. I mean, Bud Light wasn't popular 30 years ago, really. It was just starting to gain. So with that, over that 30-year period, the Bud Light went up and the Budweiser went down. But you got to think of them as one brand, a single brand. It's just two parts of a brand, Budweiser, Bud Light. The rate of growth has not been good for those, and they have actually experienced a net decline over the last 3 or 4 years. But they're not exactly dying over here, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to say this is the Kentucky Heaven Hill. This has got to be the Heaven Hill. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to really be shook up because it's too distinct. You know, it's just too distinct. So I'm really scared. That's why I'm stalling for time. Like I'm trying to like get your attention. Why don't y'all look? Oh, look, the sun's coming up. You pay attention to that. Don't pay any attention to me. Yeah. Woo. I'd have really been questioning things after that. And this is Seagram. So right off the bat, if you go back and watch the replay, you'll notice that at the first aroma test, I was thinking, wait. Okay, now which one's better? Oh, well, that's a little more of a challenge, you see. Better. Which one's better? They're both kind of spicy, which is making my nose get a little runny. I'm very sensitive to spice, and my sinuses are never really good here. Not that my nose is stopped up, but it's just the humidity is so high in Louisiana. Everybody's got chronic sinus problems in Louisiana. I think this might sound terrible, but I think I would choose the Heaven Hill because it's got a little bit more kind of interesting flavors. Yeah, it's like the other one is a little too standard, or if you want to say dull. Not bad. No, there's nothing bad about it. It's fine, huh? Fine. But this one, you know, it's like Big Mac. It's a Big Mac. You know, it's like standard. It's like usually it's standard. It's always Big Mac standard. Boom. But this one's more like a rally. Big Buford. You know, rallies or Checkers if you live in Florida. They're kind of like not as powerful as McDonald's, and their quality control can be questionable. You know what I mean? Can be questionable. Let's say. So you get a rally burger, a rally Big Buford, a rally burger. They can be like sloppy, you know. A Big Mac is sloppy too, but it's like the whole rally burger thing is like not put together as well. But then you start eating it, it seems to have a little more character, like a little more char, like they fry it a little differently. Like it might be a little better if you get one that's hot. Now see, you might get one that's just cold, you know. But so sometimes there's something to be said for everything not being totally cookie cutter. So I think I'm gonna vote for a Heaven Hill by a nose, a sniffly nose because of the spice, but a nose, which is now that's the most shocking and controversial part of this examination or this taste challenge, because I know where to go. I know where to buy a bottle of this for $6.99. Now, I don't know about you, but I would rather pay $7 a bottle than 13 or 12, especially if the one that's 7 tastes a little bit better and is a little more interesting. I think the better is coming from the interesting aspect. Okay. I think that sour mash whiskey made a difference. And remember, it's only 20% straight whiskey as opposed to 25% straight whiskey in the Seagrams. But it seemed like they're using a little more interesting whiskey blend over there in Kentucky. Well. He says, John says, wow, Heaven Hill wins. I never would have guessed it. Never would have guessed it. I definitely will be looking out for it. You can't beat the price. No. I really did enjoy the mellow corn when I tried it. Oh, mellow corn from Heaven Hill. I mean, that kills both of these. I mean, that blows these away. And that's what, $9.99, $10.99 a bottle. I can get a liter bottle of that. A liter, not $7.50, a liter for $10.99. Okay. And if I wasn't boycotting New Orleans, I could get it. But I could still find it outside the city limits. But I could, and that's 100% straight corn whiskey. That is no grain neutral spirits. That thing there, but it's a little strong, 100 proof. You got to watch that stuff. That's like, it's almost like a weaponized whiskey. But boy, do they have whiskey values out there in this world. You best to believe it. And you know, this one's very popular, and maybe it's not all just due to like me ridiculing, you know, alcoholism and all of this problem drinking. I might have to backtrack some of what I said. Maybe the popularity could be due to quality, that people actually literally like it. Well, you think you know, but you don't know. But if you keep trying, you might know, right? Well, okay, I'm always willing to be shocked. If I do these taste challenges, I'm not opposed to being shocked or off or wrong, okay? So I got them right as far as telling which was which, but I was wrong as far as my prediction. I thought the Seagrams would be better. But that Heaven Hill is just a little more interesting. It's a little more something to it. Now it's got me even more intrigued to try that Barton, you know, from the mysterious Sazerac / Barton 1792 / Buffalo Trace distillery. What mysteries could lie within that bottle, that $5.99 bottle? And with Kentucky's low sales tax, it cost me actually exactly $6.35 after tax. $6.35 after tax. Yes, that is correct. Oh boy. Well, this was a little surprising. Never dreamed this would happen. Okay, long video, but and I understand people don't want to watch long videos. That's fine. But to rush through it and just say, try this, try that, boom, here's the taste. I can't do it. I got to sit there and think about it. And if I didn't record it, I would still do that here. I'd be doing other things, but thinking about it. So that's the whole concept behind that. So, you know, I understand the aversion to watching long videos. There's no problem there. No problem. So thanks, and we'll see you whenever the next one comes, probably sooner than later. Take care, people. Have a great weekend.